Hi everybody, my name is Jafet Romero. I go to CCP part-time. I work full-time for the city of Philadelphia. I am part of their Graduate Philadelphia program. Currently, I am a liberal arts major and I am taking the first year experience as a prerequisite for a core-to-core transfer, hopefully, to a four-year college. I am the first person in my immediate family to not just attend college, but to actually graduate with an associate's. I have an associate's in liberal arts, so 4 years of working and going to school helped me finish my first associate's in the arts. I have some inspirational people around me. They are second to none. These people don't quit. I have my father, for example, who is an amazing man. He doesn't really inspire me in the educational sense. He inspires me in the sense that he actually has a very hard work ethic. My father actually is not a high school graduate. He's actually, he dropped out in order to take care of me and my brother and my sister. He moved to Philadelphia with my mother when I was just 6 months old, back in 1987. I was in the public school system, so he had to work very hard in order to afford us a life that was comfortable and also to offer us the opportunity to work with the technology of the time. He was a general contractor, started his own business and ran it for about 20 years. So he did commercial and industrial maintenance as well. So he was a plumber, electrician, a general contractor of any kind. He worked with concrete, he worked with his hands. He was just really diligent and hardworking man. I also draw a lot of inspiration from one of my cousins. His name is Miguel. He's a successful architect. He graduated from the University of North Carolina and he is part of a very successful firm down there. He basically showed me that he cared about the fact that his parents were able to pay for his education. So he showed me the importance of being grateful for the opportunity, not just being able to work. That's fine. You should be able to work, and that's a great thing. It's a good idea to be very proud of what you do, but you also have to have the gratitude for the moment. So it's a very nice thing to actually be able to go visit him for his graduation and see him graduate and see how happy he was and how fulfilled he felt, and it was very inspirational. Let's talk a little bit about my education. I graduated high school in 2005. I skated by essentially because I didn't really care about high school. I didn't really care about doing any of the work. My parents were home, but they were always there, but they didn't really check on my stuff because they didn't graduate high school. So they weren't really there to push me and show me what to do. I had to teach myself everything. And so this idea of being self-sufficient and trying to have that discipline, it was impossible for me to do it on my own. So I concentrated in high school on the technology side of things. I started with mechanical drafting, which was basically making the sketches for people who were machinists or woodworkers or metal workers. They would make things with the plans that I drew. This helped me build my portfolio slowly over time. That was my hand-drawn stuff. And I could pretty much, I know what an eighth of an inch looks like. If you showed me a piece of paper and drew a line, I could tell you how long it would be because my eyes were that good after a year of doing these things. It was very, very fulfilling to be able to get good at something that was so difficult. I also took computer-aided drafting for 2 years, not one. And due to the amount of work that I was able to accomplish and the things that I was able to do with their computer software, they used my work for a state grant and a federal grant in order to buy up the new machines that they were able to use to teach kids going forward. So they had 3D printing before mostly anybody around the area. They were working with CNC machines and things of that nature, all because of the fact that, and I'm not trying to say that I was the only one doing the work. Obviously, there were other people doing similar things, but I pushed the limits of what could be done. I was doing what was called rendering. I was doing 3D rendering drawings back in 2005 when it was basically unheard of. I also took architectural design, which helped me organize my thoughts, set up a blueprint for an actual house that I would be building. I built a model house, I built trusses, structural components that were made to essentially hold up a load, things like that. My truss won the competition at that year. It was 2005, I remember. It won the competition for the most weight that it could carry, and it didn't break. Everybody would put weight inside of a basket, it would hang and pull down on the center of this big truss that you would make out of basswood. And my design was the only one that didn't break, and I sat inside the crate with the weights that were in there and it didn't break. It helped me learn things in a different way. And so it wasn't just about reading a book or taking a test. It showed me that through trial and error, and even through input, through other people's input, you can actually learn a lot. As soon as I graduated from high school, I went to Camden County College, CCC. Camden County College in Blackwood is a pretty big campus. I went in for the automotive side, which was something that they were also not extremely well known for, but their Toyota program is nationally recognized. And I was already an auto mechanic technically, because I used to work on my own cars at home with my dad. And it was very difficult for me to actually accept that this was going to be my passion going forward. I actually ended up quitting school in 2006, 2007, because I had realized that this wasn't what I wanted to do. But everything ended up in my favor, because I ended up having a year of vacation, essentially, when I was fired from my warehousing job. They gave me a year off, essentially, to find myself, to help me get my resume together, get everything straightened out. And I got a job with the city in 2013. After being with the city for a year, I found out that I could go back. They would pay 25% of my tuition. And I said, I'm joining that program as soon as I heard about it. And I went to school, I believe, the fall of 2014. My first class was an English class. I took English because I knew that was one of the weakest points of my abilities. I couldn't really communicate. The English class taught me how to express myself. I took a philosophy class. In going to this class, it actually shook up my belief system, and it rewired my brain into thinking a little bit more critically about life in general, not just what I was doing, but how what I did affected others. Believe it or not, your well-being, your success inspires other people. And I knew that, but it's hard to explain that to other people. And so going back to school, I took the liberal arts option because I didn't know what major to take. I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And it has led me to this point. I'm settling in with the concept of going for structural engineering, which is something that I am kind of passionate about. I like building things. I like designing things. I like working with my hands. I like working with materials, percentages, loads, weight distribution, things of that nature. I'm a little bit of an artist. I enjoy doing things that are creative, that make me feel like, wow, look at what I'm making. This is actually going to be good. And I know that it takes time. Everything takes time. I know that right now my process is taking longer than I need it to be, but it also is helping me grow, and it's also keeping me grounded, because I study myself more than I study the things that I'm actually studying. The fool is an archetype. That's a Jungian term. Carl Jung was a psychoanalyst. He thought about things like, the basic ideas or stories that we tell ourselves. And sometimes you got to play the fool, because the fool is the precursor to the master. You can't be the master unless you're willing to be a fool. And I've been a fool for long enough. I'm ready to be a master. That's what this is all about. And I want everybody to understand that they're capable of doing the same thing too. There's no way that you can sit here and tell me that a guy like me can do something and a person like you can't. I know that you can because you're human, because your heart beats just like mine does, because you have lungs in that chest just like I do. And as long as you have those two things working and a brain that can basically mold itself as you go along, all you got to do is put forth the effort, challenge yourself, do the hard thing, but get the most out of your body. That's number one. Number two, take everything seriously. Do what you got to do. Do it right. Don't skimp. And then number three, don't give up. Don't ever give up. Slow down, take a breath, but don't stop. Because when you stop, when you say you're done, say you're done learning, then you're done living. Because life is a learning experience. And every day you're going to learn something new. And hopefully you learn something new today.